Hey everybody, welcome back to Shots Life. This week we're back on the 2005 American Eagle. And let me tell you what's going on with this thing. So I have an issue when I'm traveling across the country, when I'm going up about 45-degree inclines, that the alarm comes on for low oil pressure, and the low air pressure does drop. I'm not sure what's really going on there because I can feather it back, get the alarm to go off, whatever. So I've been on a lot of the forums and I've been reading quite a bit about the Cat 9 motor and what's going on. And a lot of people say just replace the sensor. And the sender units go bad. They read it incorrectly. That if it was truly low, you would get an idiot light, number one. And then number two, the way the Cat 9 motor works, it's got the high oil pressure side. And if the low oil pressure side gets low on oil, supposedly, according to the forums, the bus motor would shut itself down anyway. So I don't think I'm really in any danger of losing oil or whatever. But when I started looking up parts, the pump has been replaced and has a new pump with the new part number and all that stuff. So I was like, okay, well that alone is a sign of something, right? Why wouldn't they just keep making the same old pump? So I got a new pump. I figure I'm gonna replace the sender, and then I knew that last time I changed the oil, I know the guy before me probably didn't do too much maintenance. Well, I know he didn't do too much maintenance. And so I noticed there was some sludge in there a little bit when I was in the last batch, when I was dumping the oil into the container from the bucket. And so I wanted to drop the oil pan and clean that sludge out anyway. And that might be part of the problem. You know, it might be sucking some of that sludge in or whatever, if there is more sludge in there. But then when I saw that there was a new part number for the pump, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to be in there. I'm going to have to break the seals and drop that huge oil pan anyway. Let me go ahead and get a new pump. So I did. The crazy thing is the pump was like $500 something, and the core is like $700 something. So it's not a project that I'm going to leave on the shelf very long, because I need to get it back and get that $700 something back, right? So that's the kind of the goal today. The goal today is to get the bus warmed up, to drain the oil, to get the pan off, and to get that pump out. You know, while I'm in there, I'm going to go ahead and put the new pump in, and hopefully put the oil pan back on and all that stuff, and then we'll change the oil. But the goal is really to get that pump out of there and get it up into Lexington and get the money back. So that's what we're going to work on, and I will talk to you when I get ready. All right, one other story I wanted to tell you was we went to Missouri to see one of my friends. He's on hospice, 90-something years old farmer. And so we went to sit with him and took the bus, and it ran great. But on the way back in the neighborhood, this is crazy. In the neighborhood, the foot fell off with the bolt from the motorhome. Now I have no idea why it fell off. It is the troubled cylinder, so I'll have to get some Loctite or something to put on that bolt now when I put it back in there. But crazy in the neighborhood. I mean, the dish was what, almost $100, and then the pad was almost $100. So there's a couple $100 sitting there, and it fell off in the neighborhood. I don't know how fortunate that is, but wow. I mean, it must have been hanging by a thread or two all the way home and made it to the neighborhood, and it fell off just right down the street. So, and then I had a great neighbor that saw it and then told me about it too. Thought, hey, I think this came off your bus, which was crazy. And sure enough, it did. Came right off the cylinder. Isn't that crazy? I mean, what are the chances of it falling off in the neighborhood? So I need to go check all the other ones. I think they're fine, but I'll go check all the other ones, and then we'll get this one back on here eventually too. But I mean, just crazy. Just crazy. All right, so this is the oil pan we're taking off. It's a beast. It's huge. You know, I'll just take my time. We'll get the oil out of it. We'll let it drip forever. And then we'll get that oil filter off that everybody thinks I'm going to have a problem with off as well. And once we get all that drained and done, and just let, you know, I'll have to get it warmed up first. And then once it's drained, I'll just let it cool off. And then we'll go ahead and get that oil pan dropped and start working that issue. But yeah, anyway, crazy. All right, I think I got everything ready. So we'll crack this door just to get the airflow going through, and then we'll fire this bad boy up and get her worked up, get her heated up. Sorry, my coach is dirty. we got to clean it now that we're back. Oh man. All right, well, she'll build air pressure and we'll get her warmed up and then we'll get to work. All right. The other thing I didn't talk about, which I don't know is important to anybody, but I'm switching out from T4 to T6. I'm just gonna go straight synthetic. And I'll probably just run T6 for the rest of its life. But I thought it was fair to mention because I just swapped out the rest of the T4 that was underneath the bus with T6, so I put T6 under there. I'm running T5 in the dump truck. Not really sure what I'll do with that. Probably next year, probably switch everything over to T6. That way I'm just running one oil and everything. But yeah, anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there too. Somebody maybe wonder what kind I'm gonna put in there. T6, Rotella. All right, so I'm starting to get some temperature out of her now. She's starting to climb, so that's finally good. So when I start this, oil pressure will be right above the half mark, right above that. And you can see it's already dropping down, just idling. And so it runs on the highway right in there, right? But it'll dip down in between these two lines. When it gets halfway between those two lines is when the alarm goes off. And then you have to get the RPMs back up. It'll drop into low gear. It'll be about 1,500 RPMs, and it just drops down. If you kick it in high gear, it spins it up and gets it back up. And that's kind of how I've been surviving on the big hills, is I just hammer down, get those RPMs up, and that pulls the oil pressure back up. So anyway, that's a whole different thing, shifting, whatever. But yeah, so as you can see, I think it just dropped since we talked. Actually, it's almost down to that bar. But it'll just keep dropping. All right, the good thing about being bored while you're waiting on the bus to warm up is I did find I have some Loctite, so let me go ahead and get this foot put on there while we're waiting. That'll be good, get that done. Yeah, I didn't think I had any. Hey, when you're bored, you clean. When you clean, you find stuff. All right, let me get this on her. That's really good to get that foot back on there. Something to do while we're waiting anyway. So fortunate. I mean, golly, that could have fell off anywhere. And if my neighbor hadn't saw it, I might have seen it driving out if somebody didn't throw it away. Yeah, so fortunate that he saw it and thought, hey, that looks like it came off that bus. Yeah. Woo. Anyway, and then to find the bolt too, that's the other thing. The bolt was right there, so that was awesome. That was awesome. Very fortunate. Thanks to big man above, right? All right. Let me see what our temperature is and maybe we can start getting this done. All right, if you want to kill a guy with attention deficit disorder, make him wait for a gauge to go up or water to boil or something, it'll drive him insane. Anyway, she's warm, so finally I can get on this. So let me get under here and we'll get this oil flowing. I probably won't be talking to her for a while because I'll just let the other camera go. So, all right. So I don't know if the speed camera picked that up or not, but I was over there trying to get that filter loose that I put on there that everybody said I was gonna get too tight. And it was, I ain't gonna lie, it was tight. It did come though. It just came real slow, and you just watch it. It barely moved while you're pulling on. You just had to keep going. But she's loose now, so I'm gonna go poke a hole in her and let her drain out. And then basically it's a waiting game, just let this thing drain really good. And then we'll get back to work. So I won't bore you. I'll make sure you see sticking a hole in the thing, but whoo, that was exerting. So, all right, let me get a hole in this filter and we'll go from there. All right, so I'm gonna stick a hole in this filter. It's funny, the reaction, I got a lot of questions about that. I loosen the filter so it's loose, right? And then I stab a hole in it just so it drains out and I don't have a mess. And I'm not the world's strongest guy, right? So it also makes it a lot lighter. I'm not spilling oil everywhere, whatever. But you got to get the filter loose, because I've done it before. And once you get a hole in that filter, they get weak fast. So make sure you get it loose first. I'm not saying that's the end all be all, but there you go. And then I just let it drain. So when I take it off, it's practically empty and I don't have near the mess. So I got both of them draining, the filter and the old pan, and we'll just let that go. I mean, I need to drain everything out of it because I'm about to drop this pan, and there'll still be a ton in there, right? So we'll get as much out as we can get, and then we'll get a new filter on there. So, all right. Looks like I got a little hydraulic leak up in there in the fan. I'll need to get that addressed soon. And then I need to change the fluids in the radiator and put a new conditioner on there. I have it, but they say not to replace that until you do the whole deal. I need to know more about that. I really need to get a cat manual on this. I mean, especially now that Mr. Brown sent me the one for the boat motors, and it's got so much information in there. I just need a book on this. I need to just break down and order one if they have one. Anyway, yeah, books are so helpful to know what you're doing. Hey, information to do what you're doing is helpful. All right, let me wait for this to get done, and I'll get back with you. It'll be a while, I'm sure. All right, it'll be 2 seconds for you though. That's the cool thing about watching. You get to see everything like fast. It takes a lot of time in real life. All right, so I found a bunch of stuff to keep me busy, but now I'm back to this. Put the drain plug in. I've wiped it up a little bit. I'm going to leave this underneath the filter so it can keep draining in there, but it's time for me to start breaking the screws off here. So I'll take them off from the ends and then work my way to the center basically, and then take the center ones off. I'll get the jack up under here or something and figure out a way to hold this up with the jack. I don't know how heavy it is, but it's going to be heavier than I want to hold, I think. So we'll just start working through it, taking bolts out. We'll get to the center. Then we'll get the jack under here and start figuring stuff out. So, all right, let me get busy. We need to get going on this for sure. I got a light under here, but it ain't helping much, is it? Maybe I need to hang it up. I don't know. Maybe that'll work better. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I'll get the speed camera going and we'll get these bolts out of here. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'll put the camera probably at the same angle as the light. All right, let's get to work. All right, so it's coming along decent. I'm just taking my time, being real methodical, but I got all the screws out all the way around except for the middle one, and then all the way down there, and then all the way down the other side. I do have these, on this side it's just capped off. It's leaking actually, so that'll be good. I'll be able to check that out. But on this side I have a vent coming off the top of there. This side's plugged, but definitely leaking, so good. I'll get to fix that. I think that whole seal on that side is actually leaking just a little bit. So I'm gonna get this little pipe off here. It's really stiff. I don't know what it's made out of, but hard plastic. I'll get that pulled, and then we'll get the jack under here. I don't really know how I'm gonna do that, but we'll figure it out. And then we'll just kind of take those last 2 bolts out and let her down gently. So that's my plan. I don't know how this is going to work, but we'll find out. Got to do it. Point of no return, right? So let me crack that screw up there, get that pipe off there, which I know is going to be tough because it's so stiff. I think it's just been on there so long it's hard. And of course I knocked everything I could off of the engine above it, all the junk and dirt and whatever, and tried to put that in a pile there. All that paint and crap. Tried to put that in a pile there just to get it out so it's not falling in the oil pan or anything when I go to put this up. So just trying to clean up as much as I can. It gets dirty under here fast. First I thought the guy was really dirty, but after traveling a couple times, I mean, I've cleaned this pretty good down here, and it just gets dirty fast, right? And I've sprayed like crazy under here when I washed it when I got home, and it's still pretty dirty under here. I don't know what this has been through, but look at that thing. It's just torn up. So I can't get it out of there. I got the clip off there. I cut it off. So I got the jack under here. I'm getting ready to pull the last couple bolts out and then let her down. So that's my goal for the day. And then if I get that, everything else beyond that's bonus for the day. So. All right, we got the pan off. It looks pretty good in there. I don't see any issues. I've just been sitting down here staring at it. But everything looks great. Here's the pump that we're taking off. And there's the sump. I kind of like to take that off and blow it out just to make sure there's nothing clogged in there. I don't think there would be, but you never know. But yep, there's the pipe that goes there. So got to pull that off, and then these 2 bolts, and I think she'll drop down. And then the new one just bolts up right to that, I think. So we'll get going on taking these bolts out and getting this pump down, and we'll go from there. All right, well, let's just keep plowing forward. I think I've knocked the other camera down so many times, it's probably not even filming. Yeah, it's hard to get the angles in here. I'm a terrible person when it comes to being a mechanic because I'm focused on mechanicking and less on other stuff. But all right, let's get this bad boy out of here. Get the new one in. We'll get the seal off while we get out of here so we can pull that around the whole thing, get that all cleaned up. right, so we're gonna need a couple things. We're definitely gonna need a new dipstick tube here. I guess it melted or something, I don't know. So I'll get that on order. And this is bad too, so hopefully it comes as a whole assembly and I can just get that out of there and whatever. Then I'll get this power washed up and painted. I will need some stuff. I need the seal kit, which he said would be in this kit, and it is not. And then I will need a new one of these. When I was tightening it down, it just cracked. I mean, it just cracked. So I'll need to get a new one of those. And yeah, I think that's about it. Let's see, I already have the rest of the stuff. So that's where I'm at. I got, we made it pretty good far. I got the pump up in there, and yeah, I just need to get it connected to that. And then the tube I'm going to blow air through just to make sure, the pickup tube I'm going to blow air through just to make sure there's nothing in there or it's clogged or anything. Once I get that checked out really good, I can get that back on there once I get that new seal for it. So basically I'm going to go back up there, get my refund, $700 something for this pump, and I'm going to get these parts on order. They probably won't be in until Monday or Tuesday, so this is pretty much on hold. Other than I'm going to keep cleaning up the oil mess and get that into containers and get that out to AutoZone or wherever we'll take it this time. They're probably getting sick of me because I'm bringing a lot of oil to them, but I'm buying a lot of oil too. All right, I just power washed the oil pan off and I didn't film a thing. But anyway, I got a lot of the grease off. It's at least it's halfway clean. The stains in it just aren't going to come out. I've used purple power and scrubbed on it. But yeah, I think it's good enough to paint now, right? So I'll give it today to dry out and then we'll work from there. All right, so Tech and I have an update on the bus. I was putting the tube that goes from the new oil pump to the motor in, and when I was tightening it up, it didn't fit right, and I was trying to pull it in with the bolt, and it cracked. It's just cast aluminum. So I wanted to talk to, I had to order new seals anyway. So I figured there might be a different part that goes with this because it's a new pump design. So I figured that might have changed the size. So I went up there and talked to him today, and sure enough, there is a new tube that goes from the pump to the engine. And so I got that ordered, and I got the seals ordered, and I got the tube for the dipstick ordered. That was $180 for that plastic tube. Ridiculous. Probably it comes with everything, but it doesn't even come with the dipstick. I mean, that's just the plastic tube and the little brass fitting on the end. Anyway, I got it all out of order. So I got my $700 and something rebate back and spent $400 on the parts. So very interesting. But what really was interesting to me is I got a brand new pump thinking I was buying a remanufactured. So the new pump is like $1,200 or $1,300, and the remanufactured pump was $500 something. So I spent $500 something and got a brand new pump. And I guess the reason they want those cores so bad is they're behind on reman production, and so they sent me a brand new pump because they didn't have the reman that I ordered. So very interesting, very interesting. So very neat. I'm excited about that. So there's your update on the bus. I'm going to get to, I just got inside. I'm going to get to editing video. So, all right. See you in a second. Good morning, everybody. Hey, so it's a beautiful, beautiful morning this morning. It's unreal. It's like 70 degrees, 70 something degrees. It's perfect temperature, a little breeze going. I love it. Anyway, we're out here. We're going to get this oil pan there painted up. Still waiting on parts, but we're going to get on this, get this done, and then we're going to switch back to the front porch, which is a whole different series that I'm working on. But yeah, let's get this painted. All right, so that looks pretty good for a oil pan. I mean, I know it's not perfect, but it's a rattle can job, but that stuff flows pretty good. I mean, pig technology just gets better and better as we go. So there we go. I'll let that thing dry, and then that'll be good for when we get the rest of our components back and put this together. But it'll keep it looking a little better underneath there anyway. All right, well, on to the next project. All right, so we're finally getting back at the bus. I got the oil pan painted, whatever. It's sitting here ready to go. I did get a new dipstick, $180, and it's the wrong one. The end is the same, but the top is not, so I'll have to take that back. And what a pain. It's an hour away. You know, you kind of got to go in there to talk to them. There's no real good phone service. You get somebody else in a different place if you call them. So I'll have to do that. But I did get the new piece that goes in. It is a different length. Yeah, it goes with the new pump. They just didn't know that, I guess. So there it is. 100 and I don't know, 100 and they were about the same. I think that was 180. I think this was pretty close to the same as that, 154 or something. And then I got all new seals. So the old seals were fine, but you might as well get new seals in there when you go. And not there. Anyway, whatever, different part. So I got the seals, got that, and we're gonna get this thing back together. Hopefully get this part done. I'm gonna blow out the and check out really good the pickup tube, and then we'll get that put on, and then we will begin to torque this on. I can't put oil in it yet today. I'll probably put the new filter on too. I can't put oil in it though because I need to get that filler tube put in before I can do that. I'll also have the sensor over there that I'll need to get on as well, the new sensor. So anyway, whatever, we're just one thing at a time. It's just a nice, it's hotter than crap outside. It's still kind of cool inside. So I'm just going to take my time, enjoy this, and get it put back together. It's amazing how nice it is when the parts are the right ones and they fit in there right, isn't it? So that's good. That's in there. That's the push tube, pushes the fluid out. So I'm going to take this out and just kind of look at it, make sure it's clean, make sure there's nothing in it. And then before we go put it on there, I got the new seal. It goes right here, and it'll come over and then braces in and drops down. And it has a couple bolts to go in it too. So we'll get that in just a second. But I want to take it out and just really look it over real good. Make sure there's nothing in it or anything like that. So then we'll just keep pressing on. After this, we'll put the oil pan up after we get that in. So yeah, let me get this out of here, clean it up real good, and then I'll give it back with you. It's amazing how nice it is when the parts are the right ones and they fit in there right, isn't it? So that's good. That's in there. That's the push tube, pushes the fluid out. So I'm going to take this out and just kind of look at it, make sure it's clean, make sure there's nothing in it. And then before we go put it on there, I got the new seal. It goes right here, and it'll come over and then braces in and drops down. Here we are again after I asked the guy when I found out there was a different tube, are you sure there's not a different pickup line? He said no. But just like the tube, this one doesn't fit. It's off by probably a quarter inch. Excuse me. So I could try to bend these feet, which I may try to do. I'm not going to try to do it in here. I'm going to take this back out and see if I can't get those to move back, but you know, that's not the proper way. I could cut these welds, obviously. This is steel, so I could get those off, put this in here, and then re-tack it back together. I could do that. I'd probably only need to take off or cut this far side and then tack it on. It just sucks I'd be doing that right inside the motor. I don't want to really, not that my welds wouldn't hold, I just don't like that, you know. All right, well, let me figure out what I'm going to do here. Never easy, is it? Never easy. I don't want to change the angle of this. So whatever I do, I need those to move, but I don't want that. If I just bang on it, it's going to bend this forward, and it's going to sit like that. I need to sit just like it is. I started to cut these things off, and they're melted all the way through. I guess somehow it zaps the whole thing when it does that. That flux must have got back in there. And then I started thinking I'm not comfortable with that anyway, so let me just stop doing this, and I'll order up. I'll go do some research on that part number and see if they didn't make a down tube too. They probably did. The kid probably just doesn't know at the parts store, so I'll research that, see if there's another one, and then I will got to go up there anyway because I got to replace this tube. That's the wrong one anyway, dipstick tube. All right, so it's been a couple days, and I'm finally getting back and working on the bus. I got the new tube in. The tube I ended up having to get from Spartan Chassis. So the chassis manufacturer for the bus had made these tubes, I guess. So they sent me the whole thing. I really just wanted the tube, but whatever.
So I got the whole thing, but what it doesn't come with is the end. So I have to take the same end that I was trying to get rid of and put it on there. It will work. I just wanted to put a new end on it. Anyway, I don't want to pay $185 for the other tube and then just to take this piece off, and then, you know what I mean? So I'll reuse that piece. So when before I put the oil pan back on, I'll put that piece back on there on the oil pan. And then I'll put the oil pan up, and then I'll run the tube and then lock it back onto that piece. But we did also go get the new oil filler tube. There was a different one, of course. So we got it in. It's brand new, and it's very similar, just in a little bit shorter, I guess, you know. So there you go. Brand new, and it goes with the thing. I think the holes are even just a little bit different, but whatever. So there you go. So we got this brand new deal. So we're gonna get up underneath there and put it in, and then we'll go from there. We'll probably flip the oil pan around, put that fitting on there, and then we'll probably start. We'll probably put the oil pan on. So I don't know. It's getting pretty hot and humid, of course, but I'm just gonna keep going until get as far as I can get on it. All right. So hopefully everything lines up and it fits like it's supposed to. It looks like it is. It looks like the feet are farther forward on that. Again, we could have probably made that other one work. I just didn't want to cut and weld and have it inside my bus with cut up, you know, whatever. So hopefully this one is the correct size now and everything fits just fine. Yeah, one of the bad things about doing this the way I'm doing it, with Cat only providing me a part and then me doing, you know, when you're retired, you got time like that. But one of the problems is it keeps getting lower and lower and lower because I can't run the engine to air the system up. So that's the bad side. The good side is it shouldn't be too far for me to put the oil pan back on as long as I can fit it under here. That's gonna be which I think I can from the back anyway, but it could be a pain in the butt. All right, so the new one fits like a glove. I just need, I guess, those screw holes in a different place. I mean, that's all it was. But they bolted up nicely. This one is a little bigger. It looks like a little more oil could go through it. I can see through it very well. But the other one, you know, you couldn't see through it too well. I could when I put a flashlight up to it, but not as well as this one. So this is a lot higher flow, I think, anyway. So I'm glad I did it. I'm glad we went ahead and switched to it. So now I've got to get the oil pan ready. Get that little piece on there, the fitting on there, get the seal ready, and we'll put it up. We put it up in the four corners, bolts in the four corners, and then there's a torque sequence from the center out, I think. So I'll rehash that in my mind, pull that back up. I'll wipe this down one more time, and we'll get it up there and seal it up, and be done with this part anyway. If I get that done, we'll come back over here and we'll pull the filter the rest of the way off and put the new filter on, and we'll hook our tube assembly up for our dipstick, and we will be ready to load oil. But I haven't got the oil yet, so I need to go get oil. So that might be my project tonight after I get this all done. So it's so hot outside, it might not be a bad project to have. Anyway, let me get trucking on that, and I'll get back with you in a while. I'm gonna do a little cleaning under here too, and you don't want to watch me do that because I'm just gonna be wiping stuff down. But I've got to come back over here pretty soon and go through this hydraulics system because it is leaking. I mean, something's leaking up there, and I don't exactly know where it's leaking from. I probably need to pressure wash the crap out of it just to get it clean enough to look at even. But I want to get the bus running first, and then I'll worry about all that stuff. I'd like to get in here with the power washer, but there's no good way to, you know, because you'll be blasting yourself. But I'd like to power wash all this stuff up. But I can tell you, this bus gets just as dirty. It gets dirty fast under here, and I mean that's just running down the highway. Because I clean it up on the back in there, and it just gets dirty again. I mean, every time I drive it, it blows a ton of stuff up in there. So it's really hard to keep clean, but I can do better than what's going on now, right? So that's the goal for me. Anyway, I'm going to keep getting at it, and I'll check back with you here in a bit. All right, I put the nipple back on here, a little fitting. I didn't like it. I had to put it on with vice grips, but I took it off with vice grips. So I don't really like that, but
I guess it's not something you take on and put off every day, and I guess if I take it off again, I can take it off of vice grips again. Well, I was joking about it not fitting, but I mean, it is daggone close if they busted trunk much more, which it has a little ways to go still. Those aren't touching yet. Those get pretty dang close. Well, actually, those do touch when it's out of here, but boy, if I would have waited much longer, I wouldn't have been able to get that in there. I never even thought about that. Of course, I could have jacked it, but I mean, that jacking this bus, I mean, come on. So, I'm glad I got this in here when I did. That's for sure. I need to slide it over and then start putting it up. I'll need the jack, which is over here. I think I got everything. So I'll just take my time and get it up there. I may just try to hold it up. It's aluminum, so it's not that tough, and just get a couple bolts started on the ends and then push it up from there. But I kind of want to do it nice and even too, though. All right, well, let me figure it out and we'll get going. I got the speed camera going. Hopefully it gets good enough shots, but it is what it is. I need to get the job done, so I'm gonna get to work. All right, so we're cruising right along. We've gone around, we've done our pattern, we've got our first set of torques all the way around. Now we gotta step it up. I gotta look it up to see what it is, but I think it's 30 something. And then we'll make our second round of torques, and a couple of them didn't move, I'll be honest with you. I zipped them in there too tight. So it is what it is. Let's see. I get into the torque of 23 foot, so it's the same, you just do it twice. Okay. All right. Fill the engine with oil. Yep, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So let me run around this one more time. Same torque, I guess. And, you know, that makes sense as you flatten it, you know, as it flattens out, one may get loose or something. So we'll run the gamut, make sure they're all the same torque, and then we'll swap out this filter, I think. All right. We're in a good place. Well, that's after I get done wiping down my beautiful oil pan. I just want to sit up in here and look at it. Makes me feel like it's a new engine. New oil pump. It's got to be close to being new. All right, let me get this busy. Let me get busy doing this. Blah, blah, blah. All right, so we got our second torque sequence done. Yay! I do have to tell you a story, though. When I went to my local cat dealer, I asked for a mechanic when I was getting parts, and I asked for the torque and the torque sequence of the oil pan, because I know these are notorious to leak, and I hate leaking stuff, right? I've got enough leaking stuff on this bus. I've been working to get rid of it all. And so the mechanic came out, and he said, we don't worry about that here. We use ratchet guns, and we start in the center and we work our way out. That's just crazy to me when the tech data clearly says start in Z and go counterclockwise, which we did. It has a torque sequence. So anyway, I guess that's a little frustrating, you know, to hear, considering that's where I've got to take this thing if I haven't worked on, if there's anything bigger than what I can do. So anyway, just thought I'd pass it on. I didn't like that at all. I didn't say anything. I was just like, oh, okay, thanks, man. And I came home and did a bunch of research. I mean, a bunch of research. There's just not that much information about these online. People, you know, homeowners aren't working on them. You know what I mean? So anyway, I finally found the sequence, the torque and the sequence and all that. And
I took screenshots of it. That's what I was just looking at. And it even has a picture where Z is and where to put the seal, liquid seal, because they want you to put it in the corners, and it just spells out where in the take data. And it's where the machine pieces go, you know, where they're separate pieces. So we did that. But yeah, anyway, interesting story. I think I'm going to run that tube now and shut up. So let me run that tube down here, get it hooked up. We'll find a good path where this one doesn't melt, and get it put on. And then we'll swap out the filter, and then I'll go to the store because I don't have the oil. All right, so now somehow I've got to get this tube over to that expansion deal there. You know, it doesn't fit past it. So I'm going to heat it up. Whew, man, everything falls in your face when you work in here. So I'm going to heat that up. I think you can see that one right there. So I'm going to heat that up with a heat gun. My boat people taught me that. And then we'll see if we can push it on that way. Come on, baby. There you go. Good job. That worked. Huh. All right. Cool. Let that cool off. Well, that worked. That was great. So I'll zip tie it. I want to zip tie it. So I think it got too close to that turbo up there. So I'm going to need to be very careful how I zip tie this thing. I want to zip tie it up against these wires. All right, I didn't like the location of this, so I reversed this clamp from being back there to making it forward so it's easier to get to. It should be out of the way. I'll need to test that, but it should be out of the way just fine. It's not in line with this hinge or anything, so it'll be good. But make it a lot easier, but here we go. Ooh, ah. Let's see, I want to turn around. I want that to be up. I want it to be oil up. Look at that. All right, so now we got that set in there. It looks really good. I may take that out and spin that so that there's actually oil straight up and down. But actually, that's not bad there either. Yeah. All right, so there you go. There's our new oil fill tube. It's hooked up on the other side, so that's good. So now I'm going to switch to get the filter on. And then we're in a good place. I mean, I need to go change and go buy some oil is what I'm going to have to do. But it's a nasty day outside. It's been raining, so it's fine that I take off and do that anyway. The lady next door lost a tree in that storm, so I'm going to have to go clean that up too. Maybe I'll do that before I get too clean. I'd run over there right now, but I don't want to run the machine through the yard. It's going to make a mess. Oh well. All right, so let me get this oil filter off, and then we'll go from there. Then I'll figure the rest of the day out after that. All right, that's pretty awesome. We got the new oil filter on there. It's ready to go. So we got everything done that needs to be done. Now we just need to put oil in it, but I don't have oil. So I got to go to a place that I can't stand that starts with a W, ends in a T. But they have the best price on oil when you're talking about 9 gallons. You know, a couple bucks per gallon makes a big difference, right? So I got to go by there and get 9 gallons of oil. I don't know if I can do that tonight or not. I have to run next door and take care of a tree that fell in the storm for one of my neighbor ladies. And so I'm not sure what the wife will plan on doing. So in the meantime, I'm out of here. I'm going to go do that. I got to clean up all these tools and all this mess, of course. And then I'll probably go clean up a tree. All right, so I'll see you guys when I dump oil in it. All right, so putting the last sensor, oil sensor, and I tried to do it from down below. I mean, I was a contortionist. I got all in there, and I can get my hand on it. I can't get the wires unconnected, but I got a wrench in there, a little dog bone, and tried pulling on it. I don't have enough finger strength to break it loose. So I'm in here. I've never done this before. I just started doing it. I pulled this slide out already, but I've got to take the mattress and all that stuff off, and then this part of the bed then is on hinges, so I think you pull those two little hinges and this comes off, and then this floor plate underneath here comes out, and then I have access to the top of the motor. I'll have to be very careful because I'm sure it's dirty as crap, and then I'm going to be, you know, trying to work around stuff.
All right, well, there's the big top of my C9. And I think that's going to be okay. I see my wrench light there. Let me get a flashlight so you guys can see, so we can kind of discover this together instead of me discovering it without you. All right, it's kind of cool to see the top of the motor. It's dirty as heck, of course, because you can't clean it anyway. But still neat nonetheless. I definitely want to try to glue that back up. I think it's going to fight me, but I'm going to try to glue it up. Maybe I'll tape it to the side for now just to hold it. That's what they did on the bottom here, I see. So yeah, you can see there's my wrench there that I lost. It fell down. Our sensor is right over there that I've got to get to. So it looks like I'm going to get pretty dirty. Yep, getting it out of there. I'll probably go put a long sleeve shirt on, actually. I don't know. It's so hot, but I'm going to end up scrubbing up anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Yep, no wonder I couldn't find the wrench. But I mean, you can see how much stuff is in the way of the frame. So that's the frame here. And then, you know, you just can't reach all those wires. You can stick your hands in there every once in a while. And then I was trying to come from over here, but you can see how limited that space is too. And I get my arm in there, but I couldn't get it pulled. So let me see what I can do here, get this wire off. I don't know if there's gonna be enough room for the camera and you guys in here, but I'll try. And we'll get this done. All right. All right, so that really wasn't bad at all once I got the top in there and all that stuff. Now I'm covered in crap, so I'm gonna go wash up before I even touch anything else. Yeah, it's 8.5 gallons is what it takes. Wish there was a better system for this. I need to redo this hose so it's like pointed up. So when I fill it, it's straight up and down, not crooked like that. But I guess there wasn't room or something for that. I don't know. It's kind of like the dipstick. It needs to be relocated, and I did. But next time I do get a hose or whatever, I'll make this so I get a better angle on it for sure. Looks like it'd go a lot lower, but I guess it has to get around the other hose. I don't know. All right, so it's evening and it's pretty late actually, but we got the bus started up. Everything seems fine. Oh, I should turn my stair lights on because I did that too. Let's see. I don't know what that comes on with. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh man, I need to get this side done. It's really nice. But let's look at this oil pressure. Boom, lots of oil pressure. I mean, that's awesome. That's way more than I had before. So
thrilled with that for sure. Looks great. Hope it stays up there, which it should. I think we fixed our problem. Thrilled. So I'd call that a success for sure. We're gonna move on to another project. I appreciate you sticking with me. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next week.